Now, I don't have, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not one of those that when I see interracial marriages and I'm like, oh, he should have been with a black woman. I don't care. Love is love. But I do believe that we, by the same token, we need to respect our black women. You know what I'm saying? Because then I think we're the least respected by our black men. Okay. So, Joy, what are your thoughts on this?
I've seen where darker skinned men say, well, they would rather a light skinned woman because of they want a pretty baby, or they want a light baby, or they want a baby with good hair. But I can assure you, if you look in certain parts of the country, you will see a darker skinned baby with lighter blue eyes and
Yes.
red hair, or green eyes and blonde hair. So you could never tell. It just aggravates me a lot when men decide that they don't want a black man decides that he doesn't want a black woman. That bothers me. It really does. Not to say that, we're better than anybody else, but honestly, my personal opinion, I believe God made a black man for a black woman, and that's just the way that it is.
So, what do you feel when you see interracial couples?
So I have a couple of cousins that have children and married um, outside of our race. And I love my cousins, but I don't believe that is just not for me. I couldn't do it. And when I see something like that, I don't get as angry as I used to, because if you knew where I was from, you just didn't date outside your race. That's not something you did, because they hung you if you did that. So to see that now, or to see that even they were sneaking to do it then, it bothered me. I used to get enraged. I used to. Now, you know, I don't get as mad, but I don't really care for it.
So, if your child were to come home and say, "Hey, mom, I want you to meet Joey. This is Joey," what would be your response?
Well, when my daughter was in school, I used to think that she was going to come home with a Caucasian gentleman, because the way she felt about African Americans herself, being an African American, was just astonishing. My daughter did not care to have conversations with Black people, because she said that they were ignorant, because they would come to school with bags on their heads, or in bedroom shoes, or house coats, and she didn't understand that, because that's not how she was raised. So she used to hang with Caucasian people. So I used to think that she was, but when she grew up, that wasn't the case. And my son, actually, the woman that he's with, she's beautiful, but she cries all the time because people say you're beautiful for a dark skinned girl. No, she's beautiful. Skin complexion is awesome. Has a bad body. Like, this girl is so freaking awesome, but now her children are almost white. You know what I mean? Like, because of our cult, because of our history, our DNA. But I don't think I would be mad, but I don't think I'd be too accepting.
So Shay Smith said, when you're a beautiful black woman, they want you to be, they don't want you to be just black. They insist that you're mixed with something. That is so true. That is so true, because my sister-in-law, she's from Trinidad, and she has, she's more Indian, and she's darker complected. And they want to say, when people meet with her, they'll say she has to be mixed with white. So Shay Smith said, I don't like the way black men treat black women. So I felt like if someone outside my race would treat me well, then I'd give them a chance. Let's get into that a little bit, because Zena, if your daughter or child came home with a different race, a Caucasian person, how would you feel?
I was raised to believe it's not the packaging, but the content of the person's character, right? Who's for you is for you, regardless of what the exterior is. So if my daughter was to come home with, let's say, a Hispanic man or an Asian man or a Caucasian man, as long as he treated her well, then it would be fine with me.
I don't have a problem when there's intermarriages, but I do, I do think we have to sit down and have those conscious conversations when it comes to children. And we need to talk about the hair, because it used to irk me every time I would see Madonna adopting these black babies, and these babies are ashy, the hair is not combed, the culture, So I think everyone should marry whoever they want to, but I do believe we need to still talk about our culture. But here's the thing. One of the things I love about the Jewish community is from the minute that baby's in that womb, from the womb to the tomb, they know their history. We don't do that. Okay. Why isn't Roots on more? And, we don't need any, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know how y'all feel, so I'm not trying to this is my personal opinion. I don't need to see no more slave movies. I don't need to see any more runaway slave, 10-year slave, 2-year slave, 1-year slave, 6-year slave. I don't need to see any more of that. What I want to see more of is what we have done throughout history. The inventors, Jack Johnson, who people don't even know much of, who had the most patent in the United States, I want to say in the world. He's invented so many things. He's a popular boxer. Most boxers, particularly the black boxers, studied Jack Johnson. But then what did he do when he started making some money? He married a Caucasian person. And again, I'm not against that, but he felt, as dark as he was, that he felt he needed that. And it almost damn near killed him. Okay. He almost got killed behind that. So I just want us to know our history. We cannot wait. We cannot allow the school to teach our children our history itself. We need to teach our children, because I think once we do that, then we would probably get rid of the stigma. Then we'd probably get rid of this low self-esteem. What about older women like us? What do we need to do? Because some of us have been embedded in things like that. Like if a woman don't like you, not you per se, or she thinks she cute because she light skinned. I mean, where did that come from?
Well, one of the, again, we have to stop ourselves because we self-hate. We want to say Black Lives Matter, but how can you say Black Lives Matter when we kill us? So when we go out there and kill us, they don't have to do the job. We do it for them. And people say, well, that's not what we're fighting for right now. We are. We don't want them to kill us, and we don't want us to kill us. So we hate ourselves so much, no matter whether you're light skin, dark skin, paper bag skin, doesn't matter. We need to teach us who we are so we can love us and we can come together and stop killing. I see it every day where I work. People talk about this person or that person, how that black nigga did that or that black girl did that. But however good, we're trying to survive. But if we come together like we came together for the election, and we just come together in general, black, dark skin, light skin, it doesn't matter. If we come together, then we can accomplish so much more than where we are right now. But all we see is what we don't have. But we have each other. So to me, if we could get over the colorism, we might be able to go somewhere.
It's true that we're so powerful that if we did come together, and I know I call Zena sometimes and T, and I'm like, why are we not working together? Why are we not,
It comes down to the fact that when you don't see value within yourself, it's deflection, right? Now you want to sit there because you're mad at the world. Everybody's your enemy. And we have to understand that though it may appear for face value that people have it better than the next person, we're all going through something. We're all struggling. I am my brother's keeper, right? I am my sister's keeper. So if there's anyone that I can encounter that I can take under my wing, because I do work in higher education. So on a regular basis, I'm always mentoring young ladies to know their worth and their value, and to understand that people that attempt to destroy you wouldn't attempt to destroy you if they didn't see the value in you. We've allowed ourselves to believe that we don't matter, right? Education will sit there, as much as it's supposed to be teaching us something, is brainwashing us to believe that we do not have value. And until we change that, then that's where the problems lie.
We got to change because right now we're in a pandemic. These kids are not learning like they should. They feel so isolated. And this young lady, because of the pandemic, her mother would call her black bees. Okay. And I said, well, is your mother, because I'm having trust and believe, I'm having a conversation with that mama. But she's not saying black bees to the fair-skinned children. She's saying her mother's only saying it to her. And I remember one time I was talking to her mom, and her mom's like, that black girl don't know what she's talking about. And I'm like, you black, I'm black. Why you have to say it like that? So, and that's another thing with these moms. They're calling their daughters bitches and all this kind of stuff. Black bitches. That has to stop. That has to stop. Joy, what you guys say about that one?
Well, that's disheartening because I remember, um, so my grandmother had 7 children. All of them were different shades of color. And she had one that stayed right up under her, like she was at her foot everywhere she went. She was a darker skinned auntie. And she said to me, she felt as if she was an outcast because she was dark skinned. And my grandmother used to call her, my little black baby. And it made her feel like she was not loved. And that was a hurtful feeling. So she always internalized a lot of hurt and pain because of that. And she died with a lot of depression and a lot of hurt, and she died feeling like she was not loved. And it's hurtful to know that people go through these pains and nobody seems to understand or even care to address the issue, to see how they can get help. I've always told my daughter, you're beautiful, not because you're dark, not because you're black, but you're beautiful. But because, school, kids, people tend to put their insecurities on other people, she began to believe that because she was not a certain way, she was not pretty. So those things that the rappers do or that these famous people do, is very hurtful because they have the platform to make a difference and they don't.
Let me say something, Jackie, before we
Sure,
go.
sure.
Just recently, the term Black girl magic is something that's new, right? But why is it that it's something that's so recent when Black girl magic has always been? It's always been. Even as far back as slavery, there's another saying also, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world, right? As slaves, Black women not only nurtured their own children, but also nurtured Caucasian children as well. So we've had control, and we've held a very majestic role and reign over most women. Even now, when you look from the educational standpoint, Black women have the highest level of education over any woman in the world. And it doesn't matter whether you're light skinned, doesn't matter that you're dark skinned, it's just Black women or women of color as a whole. So what we have to understand and what we have to teach our younger women is that Black girl magic has always been. And as Jackie has said, show our girls and show our whole race that we matter and that we've done really, really great things despite what society and what history will show, what history would say, that we as a people have done really, really big and great things.
So, without further ado, I want everyone to live your best life. It's a fabulous Friday. Have a safe weekend. And, we're going to be the Women Are Worthy show. I think I'll post it on social media on the Instagram page, the Women Are Worthy show on Instagram, because I do my shows usually on Mondays and things like that. And just interview fabulous people doing fabulous things. And again, you are fabulous. You matter. If no one has told you today, I love y'all by the grace of God. Bye, y'all.